right, let's see if this is working. It is. Okay, so hopefully everybody can see here. I'm going to get into the questions. So there's one for you, Devin. Okay, so right now we will start to explain exactly how this works. So I typically go through a bunch of questions that I have. I have questions through the site as well as the email. I'll go through all of that. I have that on the computer right now. Then I'm going to go through the actual chat. So if I'm not getting to your questions immediately, I'll get to it afterwards. Okay. So I have them kind of in groups of questions because there's been quite a few, a little bit that are kind of interesting. But so basically the first one, the first grouping that I have is the general Rebel questions. And they're all the models. So 300, 500, and 1100. The older stuff, I didn't get anything on that. So we are going to start with I did not actually write down the question or the questions authors. I will try to do better on that next time. But anyways, so the first question I got was, what's the most overlooked maintenance item on the Rebel platform? Okay, so the ones that I have three of them that most people kind of overlook. One is the oil crankcase pressure. There is a line, I have a couple of videos on it, so 1100 and the 500. If you end up, you'll look underneath the bike, you'll see a couple lines on the 500 and the 300 essentially. The 1100 is kind of hidden, so if you don't actually do that and it overflows, it will make it look like it's an oil leak. It's actually not, but it's just the crankcase pressure relieving itself. There is a way to clean it, and again, I have a couple videos on that, but that is overlooked like all the time. I don't know many people that actually clean that out. The next one would be tire pressure or tire, like overall tire maintenance kind of thing. Nobody really looks at it, and it will fluctuate through spring and summer and then fall. So you do have to look into that. Last one that I think people overlook, and there are some people that think you don't have to do this, but chain cleaning and adjustment. There is a lot of things that will come out of a chain, and if you want them to last longer, you do want to clean them, but it will give you little problems that you'll think it's something else. So I'll go through, and there's a couple questions later on that I kind of address that, but it is one of the other ones that people don't tend to do enough of. Next question would be, what's a mod you recommend doing early versus one you should wait on? Okay, so this is a question that I guess it really depends on the rider's style and what the rider wants out of the actual bike. A lot of people, the first thing they do is they throw on a Shorty GP exhaust or something cheap, and they just want to be heard. That's probably not something you should be doing first, but most people deal with the hard parts, so seat, pegs, and your handlebars. I personally would say the seat would be the best way to go if you want to keep it as cheap as possible. Personally, my best thing that I have on mine would be the suspension. So again, that's a little pricey, so I would probably say seat would be the best way. Okay, so the next question would be, what's a common mistake new Rebel owners make when doing their own maintenance? They don't look at YouTube and look up Slight Moto. No, I would say they tend to just try and do it without getting information, whether it's YouTube or the owner's manual. They just kind of start digging, and they fail to do torque specs. Torque specs on a bike are very important, especially on like anything that's rolling, like the wheels and stuff like that. You don't want to put yourself in a bad situation, especially when you only have two wheels, right? Okay, so this is one of the questions with the regarding the chain. So question actually I was asked twice, and I have a funny story on that one. It is, what is the first thing you check when a Rebel comes in with a mystery vibration? Now, I have a guy that, I think you've probably seen him on the channel once or twice, but he had a Rebel 300, then he traded that in, or no, he actually still had that. Then he ended up buying a Rebel 500. The 500 he was riding and said, it doesn't feel right. There's something going on. He took it to a dealer, and the dealer basically told him it needed like the head bushings and like all kinds of stuff, right? It was low mileage too, right? And it was, he let me take it for a rip on it, and it was clearly a chain. So I got him to do the chain, whatever, and the noise, the vibration was gone. It's a weird thing, but think of it as, while the bike is rolling, any like hiccup or anything like that is going to be felt in the drive line, right? And then part of the drive line would be the chain, right? I'm gonna move this up a bit. Hopefully that stays. Okay. Next question on it would be OEM parts versus aftermarket. Where does Honda do it right, and where do they cheap out? I'm assuming that is going to be factory maintenance or factory performance. I would say that the factory parts, they've done a pretty good job with it. The fairing they have it looks good. The bikini fairing, I guess they have. They have a couple bigger ones for the 1100 and stuff, but they look good. But again, where they could do it right, that is mainly just for looks, right? It's not really, it's going to help you, right? I had it on mine first when I picked up my bike. It was one that I did have. It didn't do anything. It looked really nice, but that's pretty much it. But I would say Honda is one of those companies that they've done a pretty good job with it. So they don't have enough, I would say, as far as aftermarket or OEM options. But as far as the like the quality, I would say they've hit the nail on the head. They've done a really good job with the Rebel. Okay, I'll just look into here for a second. Okay, so I'm gonna answer two of the questions on here. It's so would you ever buy a 1100 with an E-clutch? There is no such thing as a Rebel 1100 with an E-clutch. I believe that eventually they will do that. They are kind of prepping for that. I believe from talking to a couple people, I think that that's kind of the direction they're going. They already have it. So they have all the stuff and the sensors and that type of stuff. So I'm kind of shocked that they haven't done that yet. But I think the reason why they haven't is it will probably attack the DCT market. And I mean, why would they compete against themselves, right? But if they did do that, I would love to have that. You would be able to shut the system off, right? So if you didn't want to have it operating, you just wanted to ride normally, you ride normally. If you want to use that E-clutch, 100%. And for those that don't know what an E-clutch is, it's essentially a manual with a idle stop kind of thing. So it makes it so that you don't stall the bike out at a stop and you don't have to pull the clutch in, essentially. That's kind of dumbing it down a little bit, but it's not. It is a pretty good technology. And then we will do one more question on here. If I'm a new rider, what bike should I look into starting with? Interesting question. I would say it depends on the rider, really. A lot of people like the sport bikes because they're pretty and they're quick and stuff like that. But if you don't know how to ride, you can get yourself in a lot of trouble with that. I would start off, if you're going to go with a sport bike, I would say something like the Ninja 300, or sorry, the Yamaha R3. They have a couple different ones. They have the 400, I think is what it's called. I think that's a Ninja or Kawasaki. And there's a couple of them like that. Those are pretty decent because they're not too aggressive. And they kind of get you in that feel and position, but they're not quick, right? So you need something that will be tame enough that you're not going to get yourself in trouble, but quick enough to kind of get yourself out of a jam if you need to. As far as bikes, right? And the ride of a lifetime is here. What's up, dude? Yeah. All right, Steve. Yeah. I agree with that. Okay, so so the next couple questions I have are interesting. I kind of grouped them in, and I just classified them as fun questions. Most overrated Rebel mod. I I would say daily bags. I think they're overrated. Unless you need to, bring enough equipment with you, like how do you say it nicely? You don't typically need bags unless you're going somewhere. If I had a set of bags on my bike, I would like to take them off, unless I was going somewhere. And Rick is here. What's up, dude? Most underrated Rebel upgrade. I would say the most underrated, as far if money isn't a thing, I would say the underrated would be a good set of tires and the suspension. The 1100 tires suck right from factory. I would argue the 500 as well. Suspension really does help, and a good set of tires. I personally like the Michelins, but there's many other tires that are good. Another fun question that I got was, is the Rebel a cruiser, or is that just a stereotype? It depends on the market you're at. We would classify that as a cruiser because it technically is a cruiser position, but depending on the market, they think cruisers are forward controls. So they would classify the Rebel as a standard. I personally classify it as a cruiser, but it has the heart of kind of like a sport bike, but not. Like it's a tame sport bike. So like the same engine out of the 500 is the same engine out of the CBR 500. So, I mean, some of it is changed, right? The valve train and stuff like that. But it depends on the situation, right? And oh my goodness. Gus, dude, thank you very much, dude. Road trip fund contribution. Yes. Thank you. All right. Gus coming in hot. Absolutely, dude. Thank you. Okay, so let's continue on with his. Okay, so this is actually a weird question because I don't know if I've ever been asked this question. When did you start riding your bike? Now, if it's to my bike, I bought my bike in 2020. I was riding before that, but for my specific bike, it's a 2020 model. I've been riding that for 5 years now. I'm almost going to hit 100. I'm hopefully that I'll hit 100 this year. But, I mean, that's where we're at. I used to ride dirt bikes and stuff like that as a kid. And I was not allowed to purchase a bike because of my spoiled little brat. He's actually in the live stream, so I can have some fun with him. No, I was told I had to wait until I got back on bikes, until my son was in high school. So that's kind of where we are at. And but dirt bikes are different completely. Mechanically, it's similar enough, but as far as a riding style, it's really different. How would one start getting into riding? That's another question I got. Honestly, go to a bike show, go to a just go to a dealer, just put your leg over it, feel the weight between your legs, kind of thing. That you can kind of feel the uncertainty, I guess. A lot of people get worried about the weight because like some of the Harleys are like 800-900 pounds, right? But it's very comfortable, and it's not alarming when you get going, right? Another thing is sign yourself up. So if you don't have a motorcycle license, obviously if you didn't start riding, you wouldn't. But if you don't have one, get some gear after you've tested out the dealer and stuff like that, and take your M1 to M2. So you have to, in Ontario and Canada, they have the M1, M2. A lot of others have similar licensing systems, but the M1 is a written, it's just a true and false kind of thing and multiple choice question kind of thing. And then the next thing would be it's like in a parking lot. So they will train you right from pushing the bike all the way to being able to actually shift gears and be comfortable enough. Now, you're not going to be a Rossi, you're not going to be anything like good, but you will now know how to actually function a motorcycle. I love the courses. I think the courses are very important. And I mean, I've taken all of them, all the ones that are available to me at this point. And if there was more, I would take them because it's very important as far as I'm concerned. And Steven just said, thanks, dude. Holy cow. Oh my goodness. You guys are crazy. Okay, so the next couple questions are actually going to be 300 specific. It's not really a lot of the 300s in my area. I think Rick had the 300 for a couple months. Yeah, I think it was. But now the 300 has the EAT clutch, which is kind of cool. And I'm going to basically, there is a YouTuber, everyone here should know who he is, that just went out and tested out the EAT clutch on the 300 and Life of Birch. So if you want to check his channel out, you can check that out and see the E-clutch. That's a kind of cool technology. They already have it on the 300 now. So I would assume they're going to have that on the 500 soon. And I would hope that they do it for the 1100, but I mean, until we know, right? Okay, so the 300 questions. Is the Rebel 300 actually underpowered? And that's actually a very interesting question because I don't think it is. Like I was on the highway with Rick and he was still going. Now, could it have a lot more power? Yes, but the 300 is more for a kind of in around town kind of scenario. Very light, very maneuverable, has the same brakes and everything as the 500. It's actually not a bad bike. It's very cheap. I mean, if you're not going distance, the 300 is a perfect bike. This is where it gets a little fun. Best exhaust options that don't kill the low-end torque. If you had a 300, I would recommend not putting an exhaust on it. The muffler has the cat in it, and it really makes that thing loud if you remove that muffler. Again, it's up to you, but I would recommend staying away from the exhaust on the 300. There is a couple people that have done the 500 exhaust, so it looks like the regular exhaust, but it's louder because there's no cat in it. But yes, you will lose torque, right? Okay. Next question. So I only have a couple questions on each model kind of thing. I kind of just kept it as limited as I possibly could. Is the 300 worth modding heavily, or better to ride in stock and upgrade later? Now, this one I kept as a question because I thought it was it was a really cool question because obviously this individual was looking at just keeping at the 300 and seeing if it's okay, because they're actually the same person that asked me if it was underpowered. So I would say that if you're going to move up, I would say don't touch this bike, just ride it stock. You will possibly drop the bike. Maybe I would get crash protection, but besides that, I wouldn't do anything too crazy. You're not really going distances with the 300, so I mean luggage and that, you don't really need to do that. Save your money and upgrade to the 1100. But no, that would be it. So next set of questions. I'm actually going to check through the chat first. A new writer, Panigale V4S. Yeah, exactly, Rick. Okay, so okay, love my saddlebags. Okay, that's not that. Okay. All right. All right, give me 2 seconds. Getting ready for the show. Oh, thanks for dropping by, Jeremiah. All right. January bike show is not the best, Stephen. That's not the best at all. The February one is better. It's more of a dealer show, but the other one's more like a flea market. I don't really like it. So the 1100, I'm at 20 miles. Do you have any recommendations for maintenance? 20 miles? Oh, 20,000 miles, I'm assuming. Yeah, okay. I think that's, you're asking for the 20,000 kilometer miles. Is that what it is? If it is, you're supposed to look into like valve lash adjustments and stuff like that pretty soon. I mean, most people skip the first one, but we'll go. I'll talk to you about that afterwards. You're really not that. That's not that important. Okay, now we're going back to the questions that I got online, and so now we're going to go to the 500 questions. I have 3 of them. Why is the Rebel 500 considered the average or beginner of the lineup? I don't think it's the beginner. I would say the 300 is, but I understand kind of the question because people sometimes forget that there's a 300. The 500 and the 1100 is essentially what I think he was going by on that. I think that it's because it's lighter. It can kind of it's more like an easier kind of bike to ride. The 1100 is kind of like twitchy and stuff like that. It doesn't have too much power. You're not going to get yourself in a lot of trouble as far as that goes. So I think that's kind of why it is. Plus, seat height is low, and I mean it's pretty on par with most like beginner type bikes, right? Any long-term issues you've seen with the 471cc engine? So the 500 engine and stuff like that. Honestly, like I said earlier, my bike's gonna hit 100,000 K this year, and I've done nothing as far as repairs or anything. Everything's just been maintenance. So they're a really good engine. Honda's had that for quite some time, and they have had it throughout their lineup, right? So Adventure Touring to like a naked style to the sport bike to the Rebel, right? There's many different bikes or platforms that they're using that for. It's really good. I do like it. Bulletproof, pretty much. What mileage should the Rebel 500 owners expect before seeing wear items stack up? Now, this is a weird question because it depends on what you're talking about. So if you're talking about like chain or tires or brakes or that type of stuff, it's all basically visual. And like I've seen chains, the OEM chain go within like 10,000 K, if that. It really depends on the maintenance that you do. Tires, I've seen like the front tire, you can last 20,000 K. The fronts typically go the OEM one, 12,000 K, if that. You're not really getting much out of the OEM stuff. But again, it depends on what you're doing. As far as like anything like high ticket items, I would just follow the owner's recommendations and then go, or the manual, and then I would just go from there. All right. Let's see if there's anything else. Rick still misses the 300. Yes, I miss your 300 too. Now you're with the big boy toys. Okay, so Rebel 1100 questions, DCT and manual. I kind of grouped it together. Now I've only had a couple of them, surprisingly. I guess I'm the 500 guy, but whatever. Manual versus DCT. What do most riders think? Or sorry, what do most riders think versus what actually happens in real ownership? Now, I didn't really understand what his question was, so I kind of reached out. Now, I think he didn't really answer me. He kind of answered me, but then it wasn't really helpful. But I think the issue is how the bike rides, kind of thing. A lot of people are kind of worried with the DCT because maintenance and it's an automatic and like that type of stuff. It's really a cool bike. Like I've ridden Stevens, and it's really comfortable. It really knows where you want to be. They've really come a far way with the DCT technology, and I was pretty happy with it. Actually, Gus has one too, so and he swears by it. So again, check his channel out. On the Rebel 11 is what his is. Is the 1100 overkill for beginners? Now, that is a question that I have tried to answer a few times on some of the reviews that I've done. If you buy a Rebel 1100 and you put it into rain mode, it's essentially a heavier version of the Rebel 500. Performance-wise, it's around the same. They're neck and neck. Like I can go beside a Rebel 1100 in the rain mode, and I can pretty much beat the 1100 with my 500. That being said, it depends on the rider as well, right? So I think I even have a video, 500 versus 1100, and I did like a drag kind of thing. And I beat him for like 2-3 times, and he told me he had it in rain mode. I kind of figured he did, because we were kind of trying to test that out, or I told him I wanted to test it out. So that kind of tells you that it's essentially like getting the 500, but the problem with it is it's heavier too, right? So if you are new to riding, the weight can scare you, and it can put you in positions where a lighter bike probably is better. But if you're looking at buying the 1100 eventually anyways, like if you're just going to have a 300 or 500 for a couple months, it would probably be better to just go to the 1100, because it wouldn't be beneficial to just lose all that money in resale. Right. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else. Best cheap thing to do is upgrade your brake pads. Actually, that's actually a couple questions I have here. So this is the aftermarket and mod section that I have on here, and it says. The one question was, what do I want to do to actually improve the ride quality and not just the looks? Again, that is a question that is individual, right? So if it was me, I would say if you want to improve the ride quality, best bang for your buck, that's suspension. The OEM suspension is not very good. It's okay for what it is. The 1100 is better than the 500, but you can really get yourself a decent set of suspension. And like, for example, mine, it really made me stay with the 500 once I did that Gears Racing suspension. I really fell in love with that bike again. So it's a really good thing to do, but again, it's expensive, right? And I have the luxury that I know how to do it, so I don't have to pay the labor, right? But I know a guy that put videos on it, so the next one would be, are upgraded brake pads weird? Are upgraded brake upgrades? I'm assuming he's just talking about upgrading the brakes. Is it worth it on the Rebels? Is what he's trying to say. So going down to Steven's question, actually, or statement that he had. Yes, 100%. The OEM pads are, again, for what it is, it's not bad. The Synther WH Synther pad is really, really good for a OEM pad swap, essentially. So you're not doing a big brake kit, you're not doing any of that. All you're doing is replacing the pads, and it bites a lot better. Again, follow the proper break-in procedure. If not, you will damage those rotors. So, but I mean, it's just gradually breaking them in, right? All right, so let's go through. We're going to do a couple more questions on here. Okay. Do air intake mods do anything on these bikes? So I think the reference he was saying is there's actually an air intake option for the Rebel 500. It kind of comes out to your side panel and kind of sticks out, kind of like the Harleys and stuff like that. It's a cool idea. It's just not. I mean, if you're doing forward controls, then it's going to be in the way, and if you're expecting performance, I mean, without a tune, it's going to throw everything out of whack. But again, I mean, most exhausts will do the same thing, right? So now if you're talking about the upgrade that Tool Dynaworks did on the 1100, I would say yes, absolutely, do that. And I would, if I was going to do that, I would do the K&N filter, not for performance-wise, but it's because of the type of filter it is. So just in case you did get water lock in there, it would kind of save it from sucking it in. So it would be better, right? So if you're going to do that, you're going to want to do the tune. You're going to want to do the intake, like it's just trimming the bottom of the box, and you're going to want to do the K&N filter, right? It's kind of a three-piece as far as that goes, but that's kind of what you're looking at as far as the intake, and that would do it. The 500, I don't think that does much of anything. It looks good, but that's pretty much it. Got a lot of suspension questions. Suspension first or exhaust first? And what's a better bang for your buck? Again, depending on the rider, I personally would say the suspension. Exhaust, again, loud pipes save lives. No, they don't. They're just an annoyance. And I like my exhaust, right? So it sounds like I'm being stupid when I'm saying this, but I think it's actually better for the rider to be comfortable and to enjoy the ride than just to be noisy, right? Okay. Another question I got here, and this is again on aftermarket and mods question group that I did here, and it is pretty interesting. What mods void warranties in reality versus on paper? Now, with any bike, or I mean, this is any manufacturer as well, if you do anything to, say, the engine, so if you were to do the intake kit, that would directly reflect the warranty of the engine. If a wheel bearing went out, it wouldn't affect that. But if you were doing something with, I don't know, say you change the rims or you change something, whatever, that would not affect the engine, right? So it has to be related. But there are certain dealers that'll just say, it's repaired or it's aftermarket, and they'll just, throw a friggin' blanket over top of it. It's not accurate. That's not how they're supposed to do it, but I mean, it is what it is. Okay, so I gotta, let's check this first. Love my Olins on both bikes. Yeah. I believe, yes, Steve, you do have that filter. Okay, so last couple questions, and then we're going to just kind of finish this up. But these are like diagnostic and tech questions that they were asking. So it said, bike won't start, ignition turns on, the fuel pump primes. Now, I literally just had a person send me a video of this. Where do I look next? Because people look at it and go, my battery's working, my starter's working, all this stuff, because everything's working. When you turn the ignition on, that's not really true. When you're looking at a bike that does not start, the first thing you really should do is, if it, of course, turns on, so the ignition turns on, and the fuel pump primes, I would immediately look at that battery. Just because the battery has enough power to turn the pump or to turn the ignition on does not mean it has enough power to crank that engine. Okay, so the demand of that starter is a lot more than those other circuits. So I would say, bang for your buck, check the battery. It's pretty easy to get to, especially on the 1100s. That is probably where I would go. Wheels of Freedom, what's up, dude? And okay. All right, what was the last thing? Intermittent restalling. Oh, this one was actually an interesting question. I've actually had this question or this situation once. Interesting issue, I guess. Intermittent stalling when riding. Is it a sensor problem, mechanical? He was just like question marks, right? In the situation that I was looking at, it was a weird one because the sensor for the kickstand was closing, so it literally thought the kickstand was coming down, so it automatically would kill the bike. Interesting, but I mean alarming. I wouldn't want to be riding that and just all of a sudden the bike turns off, especially if you're on the highway or whatever. But yeah, that was that. It was crazy. A lot of people, not on the Rebels, but a lot of other guys, like stunt bikes and stuff like that, they'll just hardwire it, like that way you don't have to worry about it. But okay, and then okay, so I kind of touched on this earlier, but what is the most misleading symptom you've seen on the Rebel? Vibration when riding is the issue, and the individual that gave me that question, I already helped them with this, so it was actually a chain concern. So you need to kind of look at it as, if you're riding, the smoother the chain operation is, the smoother the bike will be. So if you misalign the chain, you're going to feel that drag. You're going to feel that drag when you're riding. If you're having like a slopping chain, or if you have like a hard spot in the chain, one of the links are actually kind of seizing, you're going to feel that on your ass kind of thing, right? So those are things that you're going to want to kind of address. It's almost always it's overlooked, but it's kind of the silliest thing, right? Like that ignition situation would be the battery, right? it's such an easy thing. You're like, no, it has to be something more difficult. In most cases, it's the battery. With the vibration situation, it's commonly the chain, right? Oh, late but here. Hello, dude. Okay, so let's see if I have any other questions. I mean, I got so many questions that I'm just gonna probably keep a bunch for the next time. But let's see if I have any other one. I'm just gonna quickly kind of go through some of it. One guy sent me this. Is taller bars more comfortable, or is it just cruiser cosplay? No, I would say that taller bars, I would say anything about arm length or lower is comfortable. You want it just to be a little bit lower than your shoulders. But, I mean, you got those big apes and stuff like that. It's kind of silly. Cruiser cosplay, though. That's funny. Weird question. If your Rebel could talk, what would it complain about first? Well, I'm glad mine doesn't. Mine doesn't talk, because it would have all kinds of complaints. Is the Rebel more sport bike in disguise or cruiser pretending to be chill? Interesting question. I would say that, especially the 1100, it really doesn't ride like a cruiser. I mean, the 500 doesn't either, but the 1100 does kind of ride, I would say, closer to like a naked sport bike. It's not a sport bike. If you're ridden a sport bike, it's not a sport bike, but it has a little bit more heart than a cruiser typically. So it likes to be revved out. It likes to be kind of pushed around like a performance type bike, but it's not too crazy. Like if you're, I don't know your guys' experience on bikes or whatever, but the more bike, or I guess the more bikes that you get to sit on and ride and stuff like that, the more you'll understand the differences of them. The cruisers typically are very comfortable to ride, but they're kind of sluggish and whatever. Now, they are changing that. The newer Harleys and stuff like that, they're bringing more heart to them. So there's a little bit more fun to ride. Like that Lowrider ST is actually a very good, comfortable bike. But again, it's still heavy, right? But I mean, sport bike, it's really not a sport bike though. Like the 1100 is not a sport bike. What? 2 seconds. I just gotta go through some of this. I know who this is. That's funny. Okay, so do you trust a bike review from somebody who has never even owned a Rebel? I know who this person's talking about, which is kind of funny. I watched his review on it, and he was wrong on everything. So it doesn't matter if you own the bike. It matters if you're honest about the bike. So like I do reviews on all kinds of different bikes, and I don't own the bike, but it's my first ride review. So I don't have a problem with people having a conversation about that. I mean, that's beneficial, right? But if you've never even ridden one, why are you talking about it, I guess, right? I mean, I don't know if you guys know who this guy is or who that video is, but it was on the Rebel, and there's a lot of hate online on it. Is comfort a skill issue? Oh, okay, no, I know what he's talking about that. So basically that would be basically complacency kills, essentially, is kind of a different way of saying it. I would say yes. I would say that the more comfortable you are on a bike, the more positions you'll put yourself in. And most people think they're a better rider than they are. I've had this conversation with quite a few people that know me personally, and do share. I'll share that. Sorry, I'll share that video to you guys later. I don't want to. He's a bigger YouTuber. I don't want to. I don't want to freaking get into that drama crap. But yeah, I will send that to you if I find it. Yeah. Yeah, disclaim that up front. 100%. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So basically, like up in Canada, I'm able to ride, I mean, half the year kind of thing. And the first time I'm on the bike, I literally go into the parking lot. I'm a competent enough rider, but I always get the rust out. Do figure eights, emergency braking, a bunch of stuff, right? You need to be in a controlled environment and kind of put yourself in a position that you can control before you go on the road. But I know a lot of guys that, they crunch miles, but they just, I mean, I've known guys that have ridden for 2 years that could outperform the guys that are riding for 10, right? So it depends on what you are and what your skill is, but I would say being comfortable on the bike, you want to be comfortable enough, but you don't want to be overconfident, I should say. Ooh, see, I answered this question on it was one of my Gears Racing videos. Yeah, the review. It could have been a 1-year review, I think, on the Gears Racing one. So, because I ended up having the 1100 for, I think it was like 3 weeks, that I ridden it every day for 3 weeks, right? And because I was doing a bunch of stuff to it, and the owner let me take it for a bit. And so I could do some reviews and stuff like that on them, right? And yeah, so the question actually is Rebel 500 with mods or stock Rebel 1100. Which one would you pick? Now, I love the 1100. I really enjoy the 1100, especially the new ones. I really do like the new upgrades and stuff they've done to it. I'm really hoping that they do the E-clutch, but it is what it is. But I personally, if I had my bike versus a stock 1100, it sounds crazy, but I'd take my 500 any day. It rides better. It's more comfortable. I mean, it's not as fast, but I mean, who cares? But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Okay, let me get through some of these questions through here. Overconfidence, a problem that I will never have. Rick, come on. Well, that comes to the question on like what you are like if you're to be accurate, what are you 1 to 10? I've always stated that I'm a 3. And that's being accurate, right? Like, I'm a comfortable rider. I can do a lot parking lot maneuvers. I'm pretty confident on the street, but I am not a MotoGP rider. Like, I have a lot of skills that I don't have as far as that goes, right? So you got to be honest with yourself. But then you'll talk to some kid that's just been on a bike for a year, and he'll tell you he's a 9. It's kind of silly, but I mean, it is what it is. Okay. So I'm curious of who it was. Okay, I mean, I can say who it is, but I mean, maybe I'll. I don't know. I'll give a hint. He is very well known for his conflict with his employees. Would be one of them. He he basically fired one of his employees on his video, and basically the video looked like a hostage video. He's also known for doing his 1 to 10, those lists, and he's also known for not knowing how to be on the same road or I guess in the same lane as oncoming traffic, and then blaming that person for the accident he caused. So if you know any of that, then you'll know who I'm talking about. Overconfidence is a problem that I will never. Yeah, okay. Why are seats so expensive? Because they can. It's because it's one of the most important parts of the bike. It is basically the main contact position you have on the bike, and you want a really good quality. And I've seen seats a lot more expensive than what they are in the Rebel. So, although I'll be honest, I think that the Mustang seat is too close to the new OEM seat. So, I mean, I don't know how they're going to stay afloat, to be honest. I'm a -4. Oh, come on. I gotcha. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, exactly. I believe I lose confidence when I compare myself. I shouldn't. Practice will better me compared to. Yeah, exactly. So basically, and I've done a couple of videos on that, where I get a group of guys to do the white belt, the Moto Jitsu white belt. It's just lot maneuvers. You don't have to do the Moto Jitsu one, but it is one that I personally like. Here. Sorry about that. Okay, so I use spray chalk, right? And I spray them down, or to where the positions are, so you measure it, and then I use these little pylons, and this way you can still lean in front of them, and they don't do it, and you just throw it in a parking lot, and empty parking lot, and have some fun. That's kind of what I would do personally, and it makes you a better rider. Okay. Choose one. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Loud exhaust or silent, yeah. I mean, it depends. Some places you can't even do an exhaust, right? So, okay. Couple more questions maybe, and then I'll go through. Okay. Yeah, do Rebels age better than most cruisers? I mean, I guess it depends on the individual and how they take care of their bike. I would say my bike is it's aged pretty good. So, again, it has the benefit of having a tech work on it, but it is one of those situations that if you take care of your bike, you'll be fine. If you can store it, like if you're in colder climates, storing it inside was better, but it's not a necessity. And I mean, constantly cleaning it, constantly, doing maintenance and stuff. And I mean, it'll age very well. Actually, my great uncle just came to me and messaged me saying that he has 300 and some odd thousand kilometers on a Boulevard, which was kind of crazy. Like, that's a lot of kilometers. And of course I closed it. All right. Just ask a couple more questions. Message retracted. Quasi Motard. What's up, buddy? How are you? All right. It's funny, everybody's actually just coming in. I'm ready to close it up. Okay, so we'll just, what's the most money you spent on a mod that did absolutely nothing? Yeah, I haven't spent any money on my bike that I wouldn't spend again. So, I don't have anything to state on that. So, unfortunately, I can't add to that. Howdy, I'm late. Better late than never. What's up, Quasi? How are you? I'm actually almost done. But it's good to go. All right. Any more questions you can ask? You can do that at the bottom, and I'm actually going to be closing this up. So DCT, oh, I missed a question. Should the DCT have neutral or clutch for safety? Okay. When I went through the MSF course, they teach you to pull the clutch if you get yourself in trouble. Okay, so I completely disagree with that. So if you get yourself in trouble as in the point that like the bike's getting away from you, sure. But if you're in a turn or anything like that, you do not want to hit that clutch, right? Basically, I think what they were trying to say as the MSF course was, if you are in a position that your bike is running away from you, pulling that clutch is really good. As far as the DCT, that's actually a really good question. I don't think there is anything that would actually eliminate that. But you could still like hit it into neutral, right? So, there is that. So you can do that. But yeah, no, you're not. There is no clutch, right? So yeah, I guess there's no option for that. Very good find on that. That's actually interesting. Oh, how many miles? Oh my goodness. Kilometers is, I'd have to do the conversion, but it's 87,000 right now. So I have no idea what that would be. 6 something around there. Here, let's look into that. Okay. You can't put it in neutral while you're in gear. Yes, I agree with that. But I guess the only thing you can do as far as that goes would be slam on the brakes. But again, that's not helpful. Again, the DCT is... A lot of new riders actually do jump in the DCT. That's actually a really good question. I'm going to have to look into that to see whether or not there is an option to kind of put it into like a safety feature. But yeah, no, that would make sense. Like if you added like a lever or something like that, you would have to assume that new rider or the individual that's having that panic situation would have to be able to grab that, which I don't think they would. That's something that I'm going to have to look into, to be dead honest, because I don't actually have a good answer for that, to be dead honest. So, interesting. That's a good point, though. I do like that. Oh yeah. I did mention that earlier. Yeah, it should be hopefully the end of this year. It will be the 100K. I'm hopeful. We just need to have Birch having his meet. I mean, I get, how many do you put? You must be putting in so many kilometers or miles, I guess, when you go up. Just release the throttle. Well, yes, no, I understand. I think the issue that he has, Fran, is if you were to like, if your throttle is there, you're panicking. So you've seen like all kinds of videos and stuff like that of like the lady jump on the bike, and I've been on the bikes before, and then they literally just take off, and they're always pull the clutch in, right? They never, because they're hanging off the bike. They're not gonna release the throttle, right? So they're like this, right? They're not gonna have, like, they're not gonna do that, right? In a manual, you could just pull the clutch and it could just rev for days. It's fine. That is actually a very interesting question, though, because they do teach that. I do know that they do teach the clutch thing, and I disagree with the clutch thing because of the turn. Like I said earlier, if you're on a turn and you pull that clutch in, you're only going to drop that bike, right? Someone on his... Okay, so cool. Yeah, so somebody actually commented on his channel before. Okay. What I'll do is I'll see what I can find, and then I'll just directly message you. I'm not sure there's going to be a solution to it, though. Interesting. Okay. All right, gentlemen. I think that's pretty much it for me tonight. Again, if you have other questions or concerns, just send them either in the bottom here or email me and stuff like that, and we'll figure something out. All right, gentlemen. Thank you very much.